I was fortunate that I was brought up in New Zealand as a kid, and my father was Australian, conceived in Aussie and born in Auckland, and brought up with lots of kids all around me, and I had 3 sisters, lots of mates in the street that we lived in, close to the beach and the bush, and so we were always exploring and spent most of our life outdoors actually, and doing weird and wonderful things. And so I was always pushing the limits from a young age, and my mother actually encouraged it. You know, she would say, well, look, he's going to do it anyway, so I'll just turn my back and he'll do what he's going to do. You know, as long as he's not stealing or being horrible to anybody, it's okay, you know. And so she developed this philosophy, well, he's going to climb the tree, so if he falls, he's going to hurt himself. I can't stop him. So, and that was sort of the attitude of how we were brought up with kids. And it was the same with my cousins. So we'd get into all sorts of mischief. And my cousin's father was an explorer and an inventor and, you know, an amazing person. So we're kind of surrounded by these people. And as I got older, I got into a lot of rock climbing and involved in the mountains and in the ocean, surfing and doing all the things that you did as a teenager. And eventually bungee arrived. And to do bungee in those days, you didn't seek permission, you just went and did it. You know, and often the police had arrived during a jump, and so we'd offer them a jump after we'd done ours, and they'd say, oh no, it's okay, you just pack up when you've finished and off you go. So that's good. And so when it eventually came round to the pressure came on to go commercial, we were fortunate that we'd filmed all of the major jumps that were done and testing and so on, so we could really explain it to the bureaucrats that were very, very nervous about us doing this. And that was another big advantage of things like the Eiffel Tower and jumping from buildings in Auckland and so on, and some TV commercials I did. It was very high profile, so they realised, well, hang on, this person, AJ Hackett, is actually quite capable of doing high-risk stuff. So what he's actually proposing seems really simple by comparison. So when we opened up in Queenstown, we started off, we had a brand there, it was called Action Culture, or New Sensations Supply Company was the first name we called the business for about a month. Then it became Action Culture. Then I got back involved with the company and decided, look, there's going to be competition coming up everywhere. We have to make a point of difference. And so the best way was to personalise and front the brand. So pretty much from, you know, for the last 23 years, the companies have been called AJ Hackett Bungee, and I have fronted them and been very involved in the process of developing the business. And I'm very persistent when it comes to trying to get stuff sorted out. So my personality has sort of come into that, and we may not be that sophisticated in some areas, but when it comes to offering a pure, uncommercial, bias sort of product where safety is the prime issue at the top of the ladder next to fun, and they've got to work together for us. Profits and commercialisation, it becomes secondary, and that's why, and you know, just over the last 20 years, we've jumped now over 2.5 million people. We haven't killed anybody. We've had accidents. That's normal. You'll get the odd black eye or broken arm, and I've been the guinea pig on many of the jumps that we've done. I've been extremely lucky. I had a very serious accident in Vanuatu, where the original bungee jumpers come from, which is the vine jumping, and we were up there watching those guys do their thing and decided we'd do something from a helicopter, and we made a mistake, and I hit the water from a great height and broke my arm across the top of my head on impact, and damaged a couple of vertebrae, but we're able to, survived. And yeah, so it's been an interesting story, and what's been funny is in the last 20 years it's sort of all turned around where we now, I've become, I suppose, a bit of a legend in the eyes of Kiwis, but I have now commanded a lot of respect with higher authorities, and I'm now in my 50s, so I'm like an old bureaucrat, so they look at me as one of the boys, so we kind of get on quite well generally. So I'm not just a young hooligan, so they kind of look at us, okay, you're mad, but we kind of respect you, so it's quite good.